Is there a connection between the death of Kelly Preston and the Church of Scientology?
This morning, family, friends, and fans are mourning the loss of actress Kelly Preston, who died Sunday at age 57.
Hollywood is mourning the loss of actress Kelly Preston, who died Sunday after a private 2-year battle with breast cancer.
Now to the tributes coming in for actress Kelly Preston, who passed away after a private 2-year battle with breast cancer. Her husband, John Travolta, sharing the heartbreaking news on Instagram.
Did Scientology kill Kelly Preston? Hey guys, and welcome back to Mangotology. If you're new here, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Steven Mango, and I'm an ex-Scientologist that works here on YouTube to expose Scientology. So if you'd like to stay up to date on all my videos, please make sure to go down below and hit that red subscribe button and turn on your bell notification, and you'll get an alert whenever I release a new video exposing Scientology. And for today's video, we are going to be talking about the death of John Travolta's wife, Kelly Preston, and whether or not there's any ties or connection to the Church of Scientology with her passing. We're going to be discussing illnesses and sicknesses and diseases such as cancer, how Scientology treats those conditions with regard to their parishioners, whether or not they believe they exist, the spiritual causes, and as a former Scientologist, I'm going to talk to you guys with what I know with regard to getting medical care if you have a disease or a sickness such as cancer, and what I suspect may have actually happened with Kelly Preston's passing. If you're interested in hearing about that, then keep on watching. Hi again guys, so I just want to let you guys know very quickly that I am going to be posting a part 4 finale video to the series I did on Karen De La Carriere, Independent Scientology, and the ex-Scientology cult. I already pre-filmed that video, and I know a lot of you guys have been asking me about what's going on. Did Karen ever issue me a refund or an apology? And it kind of went missing for a little while, so I have to fill you guys in on all of that, so stay tuned. That should be coming either tomorrow or later on this week. I'm also going to be going missing, if you will, intentionally missing, because I'm getting a plastic surgery procedure on Wednesday. I've always wanted a chin implant, and I'm actually getting the procedure and doing a vlog of my treatment and my plastic surgery journey, so that's going to be on my Beauty Fruit channel. So again, if you guys don't hear from me for a couple days or another week or two, I'm just recovering from that. It's a very simple procedure, but just so you guys know, because I sometimes come and go on this channel. So I'm currently editing this video right now a week late. I'm sorry, the information is still pertinent. I just wanted to let you guys know that my surgery did go very well and I'm healing. As you guys can see, I definitely have much more improvement in my chin, but I'm not going to ramble on about that. The link to my beauty channel is going to be down below. In probably the next 3 or 4 days, I'm going to be editing the full vlog experience of my plastic surgery journey if you guys are interested in checking that out. But just want to let you guys know that I am alive, I'm okay, and the procedure went well. So let's just get right on into the story about Kelly Preston and any possible ties to her passing with the Church of Scientology. So let's talk about why you guys are here, and that is with regard to the death and passing of Kelly Preston yesterday. When I came across this last night, I actually thought it was like one of those internet hoax where people post like a news article of something that's not true, and I had to actually like look into it. And even was going as far as to think like, oh, maybe Travolta's Instagram was hacked. But then People magazine and other people were actually confirming through representatives for John Travolta that Kelly had sadly passed away. On his Instagram, Travolta said, "It is with a very heavy heart that I inform you that my beautiful wife Kelly has lost her 2-year battle with breast cancer. She fought a courageous fight with the love and support of so many. My family and I will forever be grateful to her doctors and nurses at MD Anderson Cancer Center, all the medical centers that have helped, as well as her many friends and loved ones who have been by her side. Kelly's love and life will always be remembered. I will be taking some time to be there for my children who have lost their mother, so forgive me in advance if you don't hear from us for a while. But please know that I will feel your outpouring of love in the weeks and months ahead as we heal. All my love, JT." Again, like I said, I can only speculate on certain things with regard to this, but I think some of you guys might actually find it interesting with regard to the Scientology connection, since it was actually trending Scientology on Twitter this morning. There was like 10 or 20,000 tweets, so obviously a lot of people are wondering and speculating what the tie to the Church of Scientology is with Kelly Preston and her ultimate passing. So with my experience in Scientology, and I'm going to tell you very briefly, one of my stories was I had very excruciating back pain when I was in Scientology, and a lot of different parishioners and people would tell me like, hey, like, why don't you go see a chiropractor or do other holistic kind of style treatments, such as receiving a touch assist, which is Scientology's form of healing where they touch various points of your body, being an auditor because you're doing it with another person. And the idea is as they're touching you across various parts of your body, it's to get yourself back into communication with your body and the different body parts.
To communicate fully with an ill or injured body part.
Feel my finger?
Yes.
Thank you. Feel my finger?
It's not power from your finger which is healing her.
Feel my finger?
You're putting her back into communication with her body.
Finger?
And her communication with the ankle speeds its recovery.
What occurred?
You are actually helping the person heal themselves.
And to assist.
Thank you, that helped a lot.
So if I bang my leg on this countertop table, then I could actually do, for example, a contact assist where I would slowly go through the incident of bumping my leg again on the table and going through the instance of when I bumped my leg, for example, in order to blow the charge and run out that incident.
Move slowly through the accident like it happened.
To put the injured body area back in contact with the exact place it was injured.
Move slowly through the accident like it happened.
The contact assist is the most common assist for accidents and injuries and can alleviate the pain or discomfort.
So there's also a nerve assist where they touch you like this and they go up and down on the nerve channels of your body, with the idea being that any injured body part is as the result of falling out of communication with that specific body part.
In our theory, it's nerves that hold the muscles tense, which then hold the spine out of place.
Hey, Dad, turn over.
A nerve assist opens the communication flows, bringing considerable relief.
Thank you.
So that's a very common way that Scientology does handle just minor aches and sprains and bruises, so on and so forth. But for me, I was advised not to undergo an MRI or any sort of diagnostic sort of treatment, as well as seeing a regular medical doctor, because Scientology believes any and all sickness, accident, and injury stemmed from what's called a PTS condition, meaning you're probably connected to a suppressive person. Maybe you were connected to a media source, or you're watching a YouTuber such as Steve Mango, or whatever it is that puts you in a lower condition, more or less, in Scientology, where you pulled it in. I pulled in being sick, for example. If I had an issue with my body, yes, maybe I'm not communicating properly with that part of my body being my back. I'm sorry to jump in here and interrupt in the middle of the video, but I was searching the Scientology Handbook online, and with regard to a PTS handling, this is what I came across, which I thought was very interesting in terms of Scientology's viewpoint on disease process and cancer and sickness, and how they believe it stems from a PTS condition and how do they handle it. So right here it says, kind of in the second major paragraph, it says, a PTS person is rarely psychotic, but all psychotics are PTS, if only to themselves. A PTS person may be in a state of deficiency or pathology, an unhealthy condition caused by a disease, which prevents a ready recovery, but at the same time he will not fully recover unless the PTS condition is also handled. For he became prone to deficiency or pathological illness because he was PTS, and unless the condition is relieved, no matter what medication or nutrition he may be given, he might not recover and certainly will not recover permanently. This seems to indicate that there are other illnesses or reasons for illness besides being PTS. To be sure, there are deficiencies and illnesses just as there are accidents and injuries, but strangely enough, the person himself precipitates them, causes them to happen, because being PTS predisposes him, makes him susceptible to them. So again, I'm not going to go here and read every single reference, every single point of what Scientology says about handling a PTS, oppressive persons, and every single thing that they've ever said about cancer or disease process. But you guys have to see, this is just one of many references, and it goes to show you that Scientology really does believe that all these type of conditions are spiritually derived, or you pulled them in because you were in a bad spiritual condition or connected to someone who's suppressive. So as you guys know, if you watch my channel, Leah Remini, or follow other people who are critical about Scientology who are suppressive persons, then you become PTS. So now that you're PTS, you may now be in a spiritual state where you may actually pull in something such as cancer into your body. So that's why Scientology is always trying to make you disconnect from other people who are suppressive, because they really do fear and feel that by being PTS or connected to other people who are suppressive, you can then come down with a disease or sickness such as cancer. So on with the rest of the video. There's also the idea that I pulled in that sickness or accident or any bad thing that happened to me. I also was in a car accident at one point when I was pretty new in Scientology. I was hit as a pedestrian. I probably told you guys this story at one point or another, but I was hit and I was in the emergency room, and obviously it's very traumatic when something like that happens to you. But Scientology again was making me do ethics conditions and having me figure out who in my life I was connected to that was suppressing me. Why did that happen to me? I must have caused something such as that accident happen to me. So Scientology always believes you are like the originator of any bad thing that happens to you. It's not like, oh, maybe the driver was drunk, or maybe something happened that was out of my control at that specific instance. Scientology makes it seem like cosmically, or you're just like in that point in time because you put yourself there more or less. So with regard to my back problems, until I actually left Scientology, that's when I actually figured out what was wrong. But again, they think radiation, they don't want you to be exposed to like x-rays or MRIs because that radiation stores in the fatty tissue of your body and it's going to basically impede your spiritual progress in Scientology. And again, regular doctors, they believe, are trying to drug you, trying to hypnotize you, trying to make you sick by putting you on all these different pharmaceutical medication and trying to basically make these other pharmaceutical companies more powerful to control our society, keep us sick, reliant on drugs, for example, right? So they don't trust you seeing anyone other than a Scientology practitioner. What ended up happening to me was that I ended up having a spinal tumor and needed to have the spinal tumor removed, and this was only recently did I actually get those diagnostic tests done within the last like year and a half, and I had the tumor removed, a laminectomy, a decompression, and it was a whole entire mess. But again, Scientology, if I was still involved, would have told me, oh no, you are just PTS. Oh, you need to do a touch assist. Oh, like what are you doing that's causing you to feel this amount of pain? Pain is, again, a negative misemotion in Scientology. So until I actually saw a competent non-Scientology related medical provider, that basically is what saved my life at that time to be able to get that proper treatment that I needed. But if I was in Scientology, it could have went too far past the point of no return. And I think you guys get where I'm going with this, sadly. So with regard to Kelly Preston, she was struggling with breast cancer behind the scenes, and it was said in the Travolta post that she actually went to a cancer facility or hospital to receive treatment from, kind of like what I was reading from that post. But I am just kind of speculating and wondering, at what point did she go to the cancer hospital? Was it when she was already experiencing symptoms? Was it already late stage cancer at that point? Was it already past the turn of no return, basically, to where she was just doing end of life care? What really was it? Like, was it a panic type of thing where it was already kind of late stages and she said, hey, like, let's just do the traditional medical route because what was going on in Scientology might not have been working from a physical health standpoint? I really wonder, and I honestly think Scientology may have made Travolta put that in there to take the heat off of Scientology. And even though it was trending Scientology on Twitter and a lot of people are wondering, imagine if he didn't include that she was receiving that traditional cancer treatment. So that's why I bring that up, because I just feel like something's interesting that he brought that up as a point of reference to say he was getting treatment at MD Anderson Hospital or wherever it was that she was receiving that cancer treatment. Because, like I said, if she's in Scientology and she's an OT and she's a diehard believer, she's not going to be going to see a regular doctor. I didn't see regular doctors when I was in Scientology. I know how that goes. They're going to be just doing regular vitamin therapy, IVs, and just very basic type of health practices. They see chiropractors a lot, do acupuncture, so you're not going to be getting a regular screening because they don't want you exposed to radiation, for example. So you're not going to be getting getting a regular mammogram, for example. Now, there are different people who stretch and don't fall into the typical Scientologist, right? Since not everyone is an OT level Scientologist, so the average everyday person may go and a mammogram, for example, or see a regular doctor. For the most part, when you're on the bridge to total freedom, you're not supposed to do what's called other practices. Other practices could be something as simple as meditation, yoga, stretching. It could be just like very basic things. You're like, oh, why can't I meditate? Because it's considered almost a different practice that's taking away from the Scientology bridge. Like, why are you meditating when you have to handle the stress that you may be trying to relieve with the meditation in the Scientology sessions? They want you to be reliant on only doing Scientology as the be-all, end-all of every single problem or illness. Anything that you may have has to be treated with Scientology's technology. So if you believe that Scientology has the answers to everything, look up in Scientology books for the reference on anything, whether that is how to feed your newborn baby, whether that is how do I get in a relationship with someone, whether that's dealing with psychosomatic problems, because I think a lot of things are psychosomatic, so how do I deal with exhaustion, like anything, fatigue, how do I deal with my work? Looking in Scientology text for the answer to be able to handle whatever problem you have. And that goes with your physical health, since they believe, like I said, it's tied to your mental health, and you have to do Scientology processing. So I think that Scientology didn't want her to be open about the breast cancer struggle because it's showing that Scientology doesn't work. And if she has this, it's like out PR. So it's not good PR for Scientology if their top OT celebrity members has cancer. That's not showing like a good result. They want to basically brush it under the rug so it's not tied to the church's name, which is so sad and just sinister too, that they make people not get the medical help, but that Scientology cares more about their own image than about their member. And to say, hey, okay, like we're everyday people too, but they don't want to show what's considered like a bad result. So I think Scientology purposefully did not want her to be open and honest about it. And behind the scenes, they would be doing confessional therapy and doing ethics conditions and all of that sort of stuff. So I think what happened was, again, if she's believing in Scientology, she's already high up on the bridge, so is Travolta. Look at their son. I mean, that's also another tragedy. But when she went, and I just saw this video clip on YouTube, you guys can look it up or I'll link it down in the description box, she went on the Montel Williams show, and she was talking about Scientology's detoxification program.
Chet, you started him on a program that I think is talked about in this book by L. Ron Hubbard. It's Clear Body and Clear Mind. Why don't you talk a little bit about this?
Well, this is a program that's detailed in the book. We basically store all of these chemicals and poisons and toxins that you breathe, eat, that you're around constantly. Radiation from the sun, you store it in your fatty tissues. And over the years it builds up, and this is a program of how you can detoxify it completely and purify your body. It's brilliant. It's so brilliant. And the stories in here are so fascinating of people, painters going in and having colors come out of their skin. You can also do the program. I mean, I'm telling you, we were talking about it at the break.
The break, sure.
Yeah, that you can, it's not just for really sick people. It's for people who are well, who just want to feel better, be more alert. My memory, I wasn't as forgetful. I was brighter, I was clearer, I could think better, I was more energetic. I mean, I was really healthy, and then afterwards, life was different. I tasted things more, I smelled them better. Yeah, it's really interesting.
And I know that she was doing lectures. I don't know as recently that she was delivering them, but somewhere around 2016, 2017, she was talking about the Purification Rundown. Here is actually one of the lecture flyers that I came across online for Kelly Preston's seminar that she was doing at Celebrity Center in order to recruit other people to go onto the Purification Rundown. And on the Purification Rundown, again, it's a holistic sort of method, which is very dangerous. You guys know I've told my story about how I almost passed out and died on that program, but it's a 5-hour sauna and detox type of program where you're taking high level of vitamins, niacin, running on a treadmill, and then you go and you sweat out the toxins in the sauna, because they believe everything stores in the fatty tissues of your body, whether that's environmental poisons, whether that's a Tylenol, like again, you can't even take a Tylenol in Scientology, whether that's like plastic from a microwave, like if you have a heat up microwave meal, they believe that, say for example, the plastics or the containers basically melt into the food. So if you have arthritis, aches and pains, you basically have to sweat it out on a program, so then you don't have mysterious aches and pains. But basically they believe any of these sort of ailments or sicknesses or problems you may have could be handled basically starting as early as on the Purification Rundown. But she was also talking about in this Montel Williams interview, besides just promoting the Purification Rundown, she was talking about how Jet, her son, who ultimately passed away, was exposed to like toxins from like carpet cleaning solution, because they believe in Scientology, because they talk about it too, that the fumes are just always continuously, and the gases are just repeatedly being gassed into the environment or your living conditions. All these different things are poisons that are poisoning our body, but starting with the Purification Rundown, it's a way to be able to handle those sort of things. So
He became fine, and so at that moment I spoke with all the other parents to find out. They gave us a questionnaire, what have you done? You know, have you been exposed to this, that? Every single parent had checked yes to that they had cleaned their carpets with chemicals.
They had had their carpets cleaned, or they cleaned their carpets themselves with chemicals. Of course, your son, at age 2, crawling around
on the floor. And they say that it's completely fine, you're safe, and it's people, it's not just children, it's the elderly, it's people in general, because they say, well, once it dries after 4 to 5 hours, it's fine. It's not fine, it gasses off continuously.
And there's residual laying there.
So she was a big proponent of the Purification Rundown. Now, when you're an operating thetan inside Scientology, you're cause over matter, energy, space, and time. If you're cause over life, essentially, then why would someone of her statue in Scientology be pulling in and drawing it in from the universe, I guess? Why would someone like that be getting cancer? Because they believe like, oh, if you're a WOG, which is a derogatory term for an everyday person not enlightened by Scientology, someone like me who they would consider to be a 1-1 would pull in something like this, but not one of their operating thetans. That's why I was talking about like the out pure element of it. But if you're already that high up on the bridge and then you get something like cancer, then you're going to look for the Scientology's logic of why that happens. So really quickly, I'm going to show you guys some of the Scientology's policy letters so you could see it right from Scientology's own writings and from its founder, L. Ron Hubbard, what they have to say about cancer, how they treat it, why people get cancer, and just kind of show you guys the craziness of how Scientology views something such as cancer. Again, these are still pertinent even though if they were written years ago, because you have to always go by Scientology's references. They never change. You can never be altered or edited or change them in any way. They're to be taken literally. Every comma, semicolon, period means something in Scientology. It could only be done by L. Ron Hubbard, who's obviously dead, and that's basically what you follow, the word of God, more or less, and that's what Scientologists go by. So even if this was written 20, 30, 40 years ago, that's still what Scientology goes by. So I'm going to read those two in voiceover style, and then we're going to come back and discuss. Here is an LRH reference from October 1990. It is a home auditor's letter from a Solo Knots publication. Solo Knots is OT7, which is very high up on the Scientology bridge, the second highest level, so not many members have actually ever come across this reference, and most Scientologists actually don't know this reference. I'm going to read a little bit of it. You could always pause this video if you would like to read the whole entire reference at large. It says, cancer is not caused, never has been and never will be. It is not caused mechanism by the external environment or some physiological activity, but certain cells of the body individuate and try to build a body when the second dynamic genetic line is blocked. Remember, the second dynamic has to do with relationships, so your partner, it has to do with sex, it has to do with family, so that's what the second dynamic is in Scientology. They say, we cannot go on from here, we cannot have any babies, there cannot be any more of this, and therefore we, completely independent of the body and its activities, must create a cellular entity, and they proceed to do so, and that is cancer. It always requires a second dynamic or sexual upset, such as the loss of children. Again, remember, Kelly lost her son Jet with John Travolta, so again, this could be used to show someone like Travolta and say, hey, this is actually LRH's words. When you lost your son Jet, this very much will correlate to why Kelly may have pulled in the cancer into her body, or some other mechanism to bring about a condition known as cancer. This is cancer at the outset. There are so many more references I can read to you guys. I think you have the general idea. I'm just going to read these other two because I think they're interesting. This one says, in A History of Man, which is a Hubbard book, Hubbard claims the ability to cure the ultimate disease, cancer. Mitosis is an incident. Cellular division, once or many times, is on common record. Mitosis answers the conditions for the other type of cancer, malignant cell. Cancer has been eradicated by auditing out conception and mitosis. And I'll also give you another idea of how Hubbard views other conditions and illnesses. This says, Hubbard claims that Dianetics could cure leukemia. Leukemia is evidently psychosomatic in origin, and at least 8 cases of leukemia have been treated successfully by Dianetics after medicine had traditionally given up. The source of leukemia has been reported to be an engram, which is defined in Scientology as a moment of pain or unconsciousness. So, reported to be an engram containing the phrase, "It turns my blood to water." So, I'd imagine that an auditor would try to run out that specific phrase from the mind, again, because it's caused by the mind being psychosomatic. So, trying to run out the phrase, "It turns my blood to water" in the mind, and somehow that's going to cure a person's leukemia. I'm sure you guys can see how crazy that all is, but that's what Scientologists believe. Those are the references you'll be shown. And I even remember when I was on one of my Purification Rundown, just happened to remember this story just now, but this woman by the name of Vicky was a class 4 auditor, maybe. I'm not sure exactly what class auditor she was, but for some reason they brought down this reference to her because she was like about to go back onto the auditor training after being on the Purif, because everyone had to redo their Purif at one point in time, and they showed her a reference letter on cancer and how to handle that. Maybe she knew someone with cancer, or there's some reason why they were showing it to her. She didn't have cancer, but they were showing her this reference, and it was only for auditors. So when we got her to open up and say like, hey, like what were they showing you? She said, hey, like this is how we treat cancer with auditing. Like this is the exact procedure that we go through as Scientologists. Again, don't take what I'm about to say the wrong way, but if you're doing Scientology to receive spiritual counseling, to each his own. Again, I'm not saying I believe in it. I'm not saying it's good. I think it's all evil anyways. But if you are going to do spiritual counseling, that's one thing. Believe in what you want, and so be it. If you want to receive Scientology auditing, that's not my business. But if you're a Scientologist, or you're David Miscavige, leader of the church, or just Scientology as a group altogether is taking people into session to handle their cancer or any medical, physical ailment, or telling them not to get medical help, that you have to deal with the spiritual side, don't receive chemotherapy, whatever, it's going to impede on your spiritual progress. Think about how dangerous that is. That's why Scientology is dangerous. That's why Scientology needs to be stopped, because they're actually interfering with people's health, where maybe, again, I don't know, maybe she was getting mammograms, maybe she was taking it seriously right from diagnosis, but again, here in Scientology, you're not even allowed to see medical doctors. But again, just for the idea, say she even was, it's just the idea that Scientology would suggest to a parishioner that they need to handle something spiritually and not to be putting the chemicals or the chemotherapy into your body. I think that's like sickening for them, and dangerous, sinister, just irritates me. You guys can tell it like irritates me to my core to know that she could be alive right now, possibly, if it wasn't for Scientology to maybe have clouded her brain with these brainwashing ideas of L. Ron Hubbard. And I just think that nowadays, for people to be dying of breast cancer when there's preventative measures of getting mammograms, detecting things earlier, and treatment for this, it makes me really sad, especially for Travolta, given that it's his wife who just passed, but also his son passed away tragically. So actually today, I've been having a lot of journalists and people calling me, asking for statements with regard to this, and asking me like, hey, do you think this is like a way for Travolta to get out of the church once he realized Scientology doesn't work? I personally don't think so, because he still believes in Scientology technology. And even though for normal people, I think it would be a wake-up call to be like, hey, like look at how they harmed my son and how they harmed my wife and other people. I think when you're so deeply invested, it's not going to necessarily wake you up, sadly. And when his son died, they had auditors in his home for 2 years to give him auditing and counseling and probably like write reports on his condition to make sure that he still stayed as a believer in Scientology. They don't want to lose a big member like that. They don't want another Leah Remini situation. And I think that with Travolta, he's going to be getting auditing, and he's going to have people, just like when his son died, doing locationals and different Scientology procedures to offer their help, or how they feel that whenever someone's at a low point in their life, is what I'm trying to say, Scientology swoops in. So I think that's what Scientology is going to do, and it's an opportunity for them to get him deeper into the fold, sadly, in my opinion. So there's that. And again, I think that Scientology also believes that you're a spiritual being. You're not your body, you're not your mind, you are a spirit occupying a body who has a mind.
You have a body, you have a mind, you are a Thetan.
So I think that the way that view this as, hey, like even though her body was sick with cancer, she's gonna live on again. So even if she passes young, pick up a new body in a new lifetime, go to the hospital as a spirit once you die, go to the maternity ward, find Scientologists who are about to deliver a baby, and then go into the mother's womb or into the baby as it's being birthed and delivered, and then go into that body as a spirit so you can go back onto the bridge. Like, why do you want to have this body, even though she was young, she's like 55 or 56 years old, right? But they'll think, hey, drop the body, meaning pass away. Then Scientology counseling and stuff at the end of life probably have been preparing her for this and said, go to the hospital, this is how you reincarnate. You can go back onto the bridge as a newborn baby, get rid of the cancerous body, and start all over again. So even though it sounds very casual, I guess, like just get rid of that body, you're gonna come back again, when there's no proof that we're gonna incarnate. And someone like Travolta will be like, hey, like I'll meet her again when she's back around next lifetime, maybe we'll pair again. And I say that too, that Scientologists do believe that they could re-meet their loved ones. If a loved one passed away, they can meet them again, because I had a friend, her name was Jamie, she was an actress, and she's a friend of mine, very casually inside Scientology. She was going to get married at the Flag Land Base in Clearwater, Florida, to her fiance at the time. They decided to split up because they realized, after being engaged, through Scientology, somehow they realized, oh, we were actually siblings last lifetime. So what happened was they split up. They said, we're not going to get married because we're siblings in a last lifetime. It would be creepy and weird. So that's how Scientologists view this type of thing, is just meet again in the next lifetime. For Scientology to think like, oh, let's do auditing procedures on someone like Kelly. I'm not sure, I can't confirm that she's gotten these type of confessional therapy sessions, but what they would do is put you in a therapy session with an auditor, and they'll start digging into your second dynamic, which is with regard to sex, family, relationships, and like that policy letter I showed you said, if you have this cancer starting to spread and multiply in your body, or the way that you develop it is a blockage on the second dynamic. Maybe you did something immoral with, maybe you cheated on your partner, maybe you masturbate too much, maybe some other issue was going on with the second dynamic, and that's why your body multiplied and pulled in or developed, or however they would say it, those cancer cells. They would actually do almost like Catholics doing confessional therapy in order to heal themselves on that second dynamic. So they would possibly be doing that type of procedure on someone like Kelly or another Scientologist who does have to handle the spiritual side. And yes, they could be doing the spiritual side while also be doing the physical chemotherapy, radiation and stuff, if Scientology allows you to, which normally they don't, but nowadays I feel like a celebrity like that, and they have special permissions, and she may not have even wanted it right away. She might have just said, hey, let's try the Scientology path, since Scientology is an exact science to them that works 100% of the time, and that's how you live your life. So why would you go do medical treatments? It's like seeing a psychiatrist or anxiety pills when you're in Scientology, believing Scientology is the answer to mental health. You're not going to see a psychiatrist because you believe Scientology is the answer to any mental health problem. So that's just like the way you guys have to look at it too, where it was a last call resort if she did go and receive traditional cancer therapy. And I'm sure she was getting touch assists, and I'm sure that they were doing auditing with Travolta and stuff, and it was very interesting. He was in Clearwater. He was spotted there as recently as Thursday. This is an article I came across from last week from the website Blast, and it says, John Travolta spotted near Scientology headquarters day before Kelly Preston's death. Again, the headquarters being the Flag Land Base in Clearwater, Florida. Today is Monday, so I feel like maybe he knew that she was about to pass, and he was receiving maybe counseling at Flag, where they were maybe meeting with Scientology executives to plan how to handle this when she does pass away. I'm not really sure 100% on that, but it was very interesting. Travolta was in Clearwater and he was at the Flag Land Base, so I don't know what was going on there, but just another interesting tidbit, I guess we could say. I just think that a lot of these deaths are preventable. A lot of Scientologists die, and they die too young, and it's not just, in this case, it's suicide. It's a lot of other reasons, and it's in a very high number of Scientologists who pass away very abruptly and sometimes sudden, or how they shouldn't have died. And I just think that with their medical stance and believing that they have other spirits clustered on their body, and once they get rid of the spiritual clusters on OT7, then they're not going to have various illnesses and different things going on with them. And that's why I think Scientology is dangerous. Believe what you want. If you feel like Scientology can relieve anxiety or depression or something, like, okay, but when it's crossing over into a life or death matter, don't just think, oh, I'm going to reincarnate. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't have to receive the cancer therapy. And for Scientology to know that these treatments don't work with, and by treatments, I'm not talking about the cancer treatment, I'm just talking about therapy for physical ailments. They know it doesn't work. They know it's harmful. Just because they're a religious group doesn't mean they could handle physical problems that you have to see a medical doctor. That's not what their tax exemption covers, but they know. So that's why I think it's evil and sinister that they know that Scientology won't work in this matter. So instead of pressing for someone like Kelly to possibly get the regular medical help, it just rubs me the wrong way. And again, like I said, I'm also educating you guys on this for how it is for all Scientologists who fall down with cancer, or how Scientology views this. I can't, again, 100% confirm or deny how they handled Kelly's case or how they dealt with her cancer, because again, I wasn't there. I just know from my years in Scientology how Scientology deals with this sort of thing time and time again, how they dealt with me when I had physical back pain, how they dealt with me when I was in a car accident, get out of the hospital, let's start doing assists, let's start doing spiritual work. When my car was broken into once and like all the glass, everything was smashed, and me hand out Way to Happiness booklets at my whole apartment complex at the time to try to like tip the theta to and theta ratio. There was evil there, so I had to distribute the Scientology books in order to make the people that lived in my apartment building more ethical according to Scientology standards, prevent that from happening. And then I had to look at, why did I pull that in? Who am I connected to that's suppressive to make that happen to me? So there's a lot, guys, I know, to unpack with these sort of things. I just hate when Scientology is just continuously giving medical advice or dishing out unscientific claims. It's like saying, like with coronavirus, saying don't wear a mask, or oh, it doesn't exist, it's a hoax. And there's even a story I think recently, some guy was like 30 years old, didn't believe coronavirus exists, went in contact with someone who did have coronavirus to see if it was real, got coronavirus, and then on his deathbed right before passing away at 30 years old said it did exist, I was dumb or stupid to believe it didn't exist, and then he passed away from it. So it's that sort of thing where it's like we have to take these things serious. Cancer is not a joke. These other sicknesses and other things we can contract in the world aren't jokes. Like, take it seriously, get the medical help, and save your life. It's not worth trying to protect your religious leaders or whomever to try to, you know, appease them to do spiritual counseling when what you really need is physical healing sort of stuff. So that's my video on the situation. Make sure to leave a comment down below. Let me know how all you guys are doing since I last came on here. I'll be uploading my video, like I said, on Karen and my part 4 finale video sometime tomorrow in the next couple days. Wish me luck if I don't speak to you guys before then with my surgery that's going to be on Wednesday. I love all of you guys, and follow me on social media at Steven Mango if you want to keep up with me when I'm not on YouTube, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye, guys.